I am a 40-year-old man, and my wife, Miley, is 38 years old. We tied the knot 5 years ago, but our love story began at the wedding of my friend Noah. On that special day, I attended as a groomsman, while Miley took part as one of the bridesmaids. It was during the ceremony that Miley's captivating confidence caught my attention, as she gracefully donned a beautiful green maxi dress. As I gazed at her, my attention completely consumed. I clumsily spilled cocktails all over myself. It was a comical moment that caught Miley's eye, and we burst into uncontrollable laughter together. Amidst the laughter, she kindly offered her assistance, helping me clean the mess from my shirt. It was evident to her that I was attracted to her, but my hesitance prevented me from making a move. However, Miley, with her laid-back demeanor and stunning appearance, took the initiative and struck up a conversation with me. Her charm and beauty were simply irresistible. While I had always been skeptical about love at first sight, meeting Miley shattered my doubts. From the moment our eyes met, I knew she was the one for me. As our relationship blossomed after Noah's wedding, Miley extended an invitation for me to meet her parents. It was during this time that our commitment deepened, and we realized we wanted to spend our lives together. However, our journey faced a hurdle when Miley's father expressed his concerns about our relationship. He held a strong desire for his daughter to marry a wealthy businessman, which posed a challenge for our union. During my visit to their home, I was taken aback when Miley's father had the audacity to belittle me, referring to me as an average man. He went on to insult my financial standing, expressing his disapproval of his daughter marrying someone who he deemed to be earning insufficient income. It was a hurtful moment as he compared my modest earnings to Miley's remarkable beauty, likening her to a Hollywood actress. Despite the fact that I held the position of a brand manager at a reputable marketing agency and was earning a respectable income, his shallow and demeaning remarks provoked my outrage. In response, I firmly stood my ground, expressing my disappointment and reminding him that true worth extends far beyond material wealth. Due to the man's overwhelming narcissism, Miley adeptly handled the situation, demonstrating her loyalty by standing by my side and confronting her father. With her unwavering support, Miley chose to leave her parents' house and embark on a new chapter with me. Merely a week later, we organized an intimate ceremony to celebrate our union and exchanged vows, bringing us great joy. Having such an understanding and encouraging partner as my wife filled me with immense happiness, particularly as Miley deliberately chose to invite her mother alone, omitting her father from the guest list. Our initial year of marriage overflowed with bliss and contentment. Nevertheless, as our journey progressed, I began to observe certain traits in Miley that mirrored those of her father. Growing up, her parents had showered her with abundant love, leading to a sense of entitlement within her. She frequently insisted on being treated like royalty, expecting unwavering obedience to her desires. Any disagreement I expressed was promptly dismissed as a mere dispute, as she held an expectation for me to comply with her every demand without hesitation or inquiry. During our furniture shopping for our home, I found that Miley had little regard for my opinions. My suggestions were consistently overlooked, and when I expressed my preference for white sofas over the green ones, she blew the situation out of proportion. Her tendency to become upset and throw tantrums over seemingly trivial matters became evident. On one occasion, I mistakenly purchased chocolate ice cream instead of her beloved blueberry flavor, which led Miley to burst into uncontrollable tears. It became apparent that she was unaccustomed to hearing the word no in her life. With no job or career, she dedicated the majority of her time to socializing with friends and indulging in shopping expeditions. I came to the realization that Miley had inherited her father's traits, but I was not prepared to surrender or blindly comply with her demands. I made it clear that as a married couple, I had the right to express my opinions, and I expected her to exhibit maturity if we were to build a successful marriage. I conveyed that without mutual understanding and respect, our marriage would be untenable. Miley was taken aback by my assertion since she had never encountered the word no before. Overwhelmed with emotion, she sobbed and sincerely pledged to modify her behavior. Although it was an unfamiliar experience for her, she was determined to make an earnest effort because she professed a deep love for me. Recognizing that her father bore responsibility for her spoiled demeanor, I chose to grant her an opportunity for growth, driven by my own love for her. Miley began taking gradual steps to demonstrate her commitment to patience and kindness towards me. She secured a part-time job and enrolled in a course, showcasing her willingness to take responsibility and contribute to our lives. Rather than spending her days socializing with friends, she made the effort to accompany me when we met our mutual friends, Noah and his wife, Emily. While Emily had been Miley's childhood friend, she starkly contrasted with her in terms of personality and demeanor. Miley's childhood friend, Emily, presented herself as a composed, mature, and intelligent woman, providing a stark contrast to Miley's previous behavior. As Noah was my closest friend, we frequently engaged in collaborative efforts, working on various business ideas together. This led to frequent visits between our households. Through our unwavering dedication and hard work, Noah and I successfully launched our product, which translated into substantial financial gains. As a result, we transitioned from residing in cramped apartments to spacious, comfortable houses, marking a significant improvement in our living conditions. Upon hearing about my accomplishments, my father-in-law's perception of me began to soften, prompting him to initiate casual phone conversations. Initially, I harbored reluctance to engage with him, but with encouragement from Emily and Noah, who desired for me to let go of the past and extend forgiveness, I decided to answer his calls. Eventually, I embraced the idea and extended an invitation to my in-laws, welcoming them to our new home. When my father-in-law accepted the invitation and visited our opulent abode, he was taken aback by the extent of our newfound prosperity, as he had never anticipated my success. It was his own ill treatment and misbehavior that fueled my desire for wealth, serving as the impetus for me to tirelessly work day and night to achieve my goals. However, he persisted in pressuring both Miley and me to start a family, despite our reservations and personal preferences. Ironically, the man who initially opposed his daughter's union with me now expressed a sudden desire for us to have children. Recognizing his tendency to intrude in our lives, I maintained a reasonable distance from him. However, last year during Christmas, Miley's parents insisted that we host a grand dinner at our home, urging us to include a wide range of guests. In response, I extended invitations to Noah and his family, as well as my own parents and brothers, fostering an atmosphere of togetherness and celebration. Miley's parents insisted that I extend invitations to their friends and relatives for the Christmas dinner, citing their absence at our wedding as the reason. It became evident that their motivation was not solely to introduce their son-in-law to their acquaintances, but rather to showcase their connections and display our lavish house and wealth. Despite their desires, I declined to invite a large number of people, choosing instead to maintain a more intimate gathering. Nonetheless, Miley did invite a select few of her parents' friends and relatives to the dinner. During the Christmas dinner party, my parents and Noah's family arrived dressed in casual yet appropriate attire for the occasion. However, I was taken aback when Miley's family appeared in overly formal and extravagant attire, as if they were attending a wedding rather than a casual gathering. To my surprise, friends and relatives of my in-laws began to act as if they were in their own home, dancing and utilizing our space without restraint. Miley had chosen to wear a short black dress, and the lively atmosphere had transformed our home into a bustling party scene, resembling more of a bar than a traditional Christmas dinner. This stark contrast to our usual quiet and simple family gatherings left me feeling uneasy. Observing the turn of events, my parents, who preferred a more tranquil atmosphere, made the decision to depart early, sensing that the gathering had evolved into something more akin to a disco than a traditional Christmas celebration. As the evening progressed, my father-in-law busily showcased our house, cars, and various possessions to his friends, while their children joined Miley on the dance floor. Meanwhile, Noah's family and I remained focused on enjoying our dinner and paid little attention to these unfamiliar guests. After our meal, Noah and Emily decided to leave early, having fulfilled their obligations for the evening. Feeling deeply dissatisfied with the party's turn of events, I expressed my frustration to Miley, emphasizing the need to bring the gathering to a close. Understanding my sentiments, Miley reassured me that she would take charge and asked me to retreat upstairs for some rest. Battling a pounding headache and growing anger towards Miley and her parents' eccentric friends, I locked myself in my room and sought solace in sleep. Awakening around 3 a.m. from a disturbing dream, I noticed Miley's absence beside me. Curiosity piqued, I decided to descend the stairs to investigate. To my astonishment and growing anger, I found the entire house shrouded in darkness, devoid of any illumination. The unsettling revelation awaited me as I discovered the lingering presence of the previous guests, who were now leisurely lounging on the carpets and sofas, seemingly undeterred by the late hour. Furious at this discovery, my frustration mounted further. Unable to locate Miley or her parents in the main living areas, I expanded my search to other rooms within the house. Eventually, I discovered her parents fast asleep in our designated guest room. Growing more concerned, I decided to call Miley's phone in an attempt to determine her whereabouts. As the ringtone echoed from within the house, I realized that the sound was emanating from another guest room. Sensing something amiss, I swiftly disconnected the call and cautiously entered the room to investigate. As I opened the door, a wave of shock washed over me when I found Miley alone in the room with an unfamiliar man, engaging in a highly inappropriate situation. Overwhelmed with anger and disbelief, I instinctively reached for my phone, capturing video evidence of the scene before me. In a fit of rage, I confronted Miley, dousing her with water, causing her to be taken aback by my sudden presence, as she had assumed I would be asleep and unaware until the morning. I punched the guy and threw him out of my house after yelling and making a scene. When Miley's parents and other guests woke up from my shouting, Miley's father explained that it was all a misunderstanding and that the man was his friend's kid. I told him to shut up. When Miley cried and begged me to give her another chance, I slapped her. However, her father persisted in offering feeble explanations, downplaying the severity of the situation and insinuating that I was overreacting. His entitled demeanor became increasingly apparent now that I had attained wealth, as he seemed appalled at the mere thought of me leaving his daughter. He proposed that, as a family matter, we should address it in the morning, sparing our guests the spectacle of a public confrontation. Reaching my breaking point, I no longer had any concern for the guests or my unfaithful wife. Therefore, I decisively ushered them all out of my house, even though it was the dead of night. Subsequently, I took the necessary steps to end my marriage by mailing divorce papers to Miley. The process of finalizing the divorce took months, during which time Noah and my other friends stood by me, offering their support. Unfortunately, my greedy father-in-law attempted to manipulate and extort money from me. However, I was fortunate enough to possess irrefutable evidence of his daughter's infidelity, which ultimately worked in my favor. Despite Miley's persistent pleas for another chance, acknowledging her affairs and expressing remorse, I remained resolute in my decision, while she attempted to shift the blame onto her father, assuming that by doing so, I would easily forgive her. I recognized that accepting responsibility for her actions was crucial for true growth. While I had initially given her opportunities due to her entitled behavior stemming from her upbringing, the betrayal caused by her infidelity was a breach of trust that I couldn't overlook. However, I found it challenging to forgive infidelity, as I firmly believe that it is a conscious choice. Miley, being a grown woman, was well aware of the implications of her actions and must take responsibility for them. It became evident that Miley's relationship with her parents was strained, largely due to the stark contrast between the affluent lifestyle she had become accustomed to with me and the dynamics of her upbringing. Despite Miley's persistent attempts to contact me, I have firmly decided against any possibility of reconciliation. I have found happiness in my life, having started a relationship with Noah's sister, and I am genuinely content with the way things are. Sometimes being alone is far better than being surrounded by individuals who exhibit greed and entitlement. The presence of such people can be incompatible with one's own values and can disrupt any sense of harmony or coexistence. Thank you for listening to the story to the end, and if you like it, please support us with a like, as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what